AI is taking over your life, both in real life and as a trucker. Does it affect us all? And if so, how? And what can we look forward to doing to reveal the solution? How do we handle AI? Well, let's talk about it.
Shall we begin?
From the trenches of trucking experience and a passionate heavyweight in the Truth and Broadcasting Network, welcome to Truckin City News Frontline Podcast, hosted by the most opinionated broadcaster on YouTube, Boss Man.
Howdy ho and welcome. Even StreamYard has trouble today. Interesting that I tried going at a time and even StreamYard is busy. I guess we're really killing it, ain't we? No, I blame AI because you know what? AI is really messing with today. And we are going to talk about just that very problem. AI has its place. It has its purpose. But I think the more and more we go into life nowadays, the more reliant we become on things like AI, the more problems and issues we're going to have. Me being on time is a perfect example. The message was, the traffic is too high. Sorry, don't believe that for a second. But we are here. We are live. We are Truckin Frontlines. We are Truckin City News. We are here talking about issues that affect you in trucking today. We are talking about it from the perspective of media that just don't have time for you. Mainly the mainstream media. They don't have time for you. They don't have time for me. So what do? I go out and I handpick certain stories that will affect you. And today's story will, if it hasn't already. I have with me a number of guests with me today that probably can relate personal experiences from both the good purposes of AI and probably some of the bad. One specific guest, I urge you to stick around toward the end of the show. It's going to be an eye-opener. His experience was such that, well, I'll let him explain it, but let's just say it became very costly. And it's one I think you guys can benefit from. I mean, we all need to hear about new and up-and-coming trends. And if you have a new and upcoming trend or anything related to AI, go ahead, give our studio line a call, 860-785-3547. Let us know your thoughts on AI, its effect, any ways you've benefited or any ways you've suffered. Give us a call and let us know. Send us an email if you have a thought for an upcoming story that you'd like. There's a man coming on today that can prove to you without a doubt. I do pay attention to emails and detail. Send us an email at thatstruckinnews@outlook.com. That's truckinnews@outlook.com. If you'd like to join the show, there is a link pinned at Truckin City's chat log at the very top. It's a StreamYard link. You can join the show, become a guest on the panel, and weigh in. Don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Don't act like your opinion don't count. Here on Truckin Frontlines, you are what matters. Today, I want to talk about you and me. We are the unsung heroes. And today, this is your daily dose of something I'd like to say reminds you that we are important. Did you know that over 70% of all the tonnage moved in the U.S. is transported by truck? Yeah, the railroads make a big deal and they try to make it sound like, well, we can do it alone. But you know what? Railroads don't run in front of my house, so they don't deliver my groceries. So until that changes, trucks move America forward. In 1942, during World War II, we were in the throes of conflict. We were in the middle of moving war machines around, restocking, getting things done. There was a lot of people away, and it's truckers that came to the aid of the American people. All right. They became the backbone and the home front, ensuring that every factory had all the materials they need and every household had all the groceries they need. You fast forward to today, and we continue to play a critical role. We navigate the highways, we deal with the stresses of construction, the scorching heat, the congested highways. We are what keep America moving. So next time you go down the road, if you're not a trucker watching this broadcast and you see someone like us behind the wheel, take just seconds. Give us a salute, like the little kids. We love that. We get tickled when we see that. You see us at a truck stop. You don't have to buy us coffee, but just the idea that you offer us one, that sticks with us. A friend of mine in the YouTube sphere got the right idea. He's part of something buying me a coffee. Friends, even just the offer to say thank you and buy us a coffee will take our day into the stratosphere. It will make us feel so good. We are so unappreciated nowadays. So take this opportunity to let me remind you, we do it because we choose to. You see it because you have to. We want to keep doing it. So simply thank a trucker, and let's move on to our next story. When it comes down to how we get loads, we have to fight a lot of forces. We have to go through quite a bit. And, as much as AI is designed to help us out with some of that, I think some people are trying to take it a step too far. We've just been blessed with a story about a new initiative in which it's really combated by a piece of legislation, a new bipartisan bill. The Household Goods and Shipping Consumer Protection Act aims at combating freight fraud and enforcing stricter regulations. There's somebody in our panel today that really loves when I talk about that. On freight brokers and truck companies. It's introduced by Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, and Republican Mike Ezell. And it requires truckers and brokers to have a physical address and disclose any significant relationships with other carriers or brokers from the past 3 years. Now, I don't have any here. I don't have any specifics on it, and those in my panel may be able to disclose some of this information or talk about it. But it's also received a lot of support from various groups. This industry, or this bill being talked about, believes it will help eliminate fraudulent activities and enhance the industry's integrity. But there are those that feel the increased regulations may pose challenges for legitimate small operators. One such problem we'll cover in the next story, and you'll be tickled to know just exactly how it affects everyone. But needless to say, some of the effects of legislation and AI are here and here to stay. So let's bring our guests on, and then we'll go through the comments and we'll catch up on everything. As StreamYard, it just loves to play with me, right? So let's bring a grumpy old fella from the Okies to the forefront. Tell us, what do you think about AI, Frank? How's life hanging in your AI sphere today?
Speaking of AI, I was having fun playing with it last night. It works great for certain things, but as far as doing stuff and replacing a human, forget it. It's never going to happen.
No. Even those fake things we can talk. I mean, who hasn't seen Tom Hanks Tom Cruise in a kitchen, right? Everybody knows that. I mean, so try as you may, You can make AI look good, but it's not the real thing. That's just all I gotta say.
No.
Another fella using AI, I think probably more regularly than he'll even admit, is with us today. The man that loves sticking me on the so you want more regulations. The man himself, Midlight Trucker. How are you today, my friend? How are you today?
Alexa said that we wouldn't have had all these problems if we were on a Mac.
What? What? Nothing about regulations? Tisk tisk. Come on now.
Hey, you already know that I've already seen how you feel about regulations. You want more of them. I mean, hey.
No, 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 no. I didn't say that. And that
Yeah,
story
you want
today
more.
is-
You just want them on everybody else.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm no slouch. I know what's right, right? No, I mean, honestly though, when it comes down to it, I ran last week's live featuring a skit from Mother Trucker talking about an issue with one of the mega carriers. And in the next story, I plan to expound on that a little better and make you guys aware of something. But for sake of this story, we already know that certain regulations have already kicked in and certain things are starting to happen and negatively affect people trying to work with brokers and freight forwarders. So, what do you think of the story I just featured in terms of the House and Congress trying to battle freight fraud? Do you think that might tie in a little bit with it, or do you think we're still a little weak on that? What do you think, Tom?
I don't care how many rules, regulations you make to try to stop freight fraud or any other thing.
Mhm.
People who are going to break the law are going to work their way around it. It's going to happen. Just like
Very true.
ELDs. Do we not do the 5-mile-an-hour crawl across the truck stop? They're going to come up with ways around it.
Everybody does. Everybody does. But in the meantime, we're stuck with the repercussions. One such individual is going to come on here very soon and talk about a huge cost and a huge problem. And I don't think, least of all him, I don't think anyone else even saw it coming. And here we are today dealing with, okay, you've got to do A before B. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, that wasn't good enough. Now you've got to do D. Um, you yourself, Frank, even ran into some issues briefly trying to get back with a company you had previously worked for. And something similar like that happened to you. Did it not?
It did. It did have
Yeah.
similarities to it,
Yeah.
but it's still got an issue, but I've worked it out to where it's going in my favor, I believe. So
Wow. Yeah. We can always hope. I mean, everybody's got their direction, everybody's got their issues, but overall, I mean, I want to go from this perspective of actually being fraud, exposed to fraud. I have dealt with on very many occasions, and I've been an owner operator, so to speak, for over 8 years. And I've dealt with at least three separate circumstances where because it was a third party broker, not somebody directly related to Landstar, because it was somebody, I found out through the chain there was three different brokers on the load that I was on. And just because of that, there was no recourse for me to be able to collect detention pay. And that's a minor thing when you think about it, but it does make a huge effect. Tom, have you ever experienced issues similar to that? I mean, just not being able to go through what normal people do because someone's
Uh,
in the middle, and
Okay.
uninvolved.
I was a lease operator briefly, and that was not an issue for me because of the companies that I was with. But also being with the company that I'm with, we get paid detention regardless of whether the shipper or receiver pays detention. But here's the key with detention:
Mhm.
a better thing than being paid detention is not being detained. But
Thank you.
I don't have a problem with. I'm the guy who doesn't see the problem with brokers because I've dealt with them from the other side. I used to ship
Right,
using brokers.
right,
And everybody thinks if we eliminate the brokers, you'll make more money. You won't. The
right,
shippers will have to use that money to do all the stuff the brokers currently do.
right,
yeah,
right. There you go. Tom, I can't help but notice the background over your right shoulder. I like that. What made you put that up today? Is that actual
Well,
background, or is there a reason behind
that's
that?
a map. That's a map of all of
Yeah.
the states that I've traveled so far this year through week 24,
Okay.
and how many miles in each state. Of course, the darkest being purple. That's Texas because I've traveled the most miles there. The
Oh
darker
yeah.
the state, the more miles I've traveled this year.
Okay. That's good. And that's something you track through your own
Excel
software, or
spreadsheets. Yeah, I built an Excel
nice.
spreadsheet that I track everything.
Well,
Even though I'm
all
a
right.
company
Well,
driver, I still track everything. I know my truck's fuel
hey,
mileage. I know cents per mile for fuel.
right. Good deal. Good deal. Poets in the house. God bless you, my friend. Welcome to the show, the man from the north. Good morning to John, who's not with us at the moment, but most likely will make an appearance. He's kind of in the middle of some issues, so we will be patient with John and we will bear with him. Um, let me see here. I have put up. I'm catching up on comments because I don't like ignoring everybody. Um, Poet also says, FYI, AI is coming to your phone operating systems as well as many other OS. There's no way of getting around it. Yes. And it's not coming, it's already there. I
Yep.
mean, there's AI in everything we do. Um, just I think I wanted to make it known that there's more use being integrated every single day. And prior to now, AI was never a big issue, and now all of a sudden, only doing a job because I choose to. Amen to fate trucking. Gotta love it. I think up to now, it's not a. I think a lot of things have been manually handled by humans, and now it's become abundantly obvious that AI is handling more and more things. One of the things I think can perfectly classify this is the story on Prime I did last 2 weeks ago on the inward facing cameras. Their whole system is operated by AI. The moment you reach for a drink, AI kicks in and red flags your activities. The moment you reach for your cell phone, it's AI that's making that recognized and dinging your score. Um, so there isn't a human eyeball on anything doing right now with your activities in the truck until you actually have a conference with somebody. And at that point, it's already too late. Your score's already been affected. Um, WCF Invader says, good day, everybody, and fake trucking. Fate, you're a popular dude, my friend. Let me see. I'm not special. The only thing I deserve is the money I make for doing my job. Boy, who pissed in your cornflakes, man? I'm picking, I'm picking on him. I'm really. Um, so yeah, everybody's just chatting amongst themselves. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter what way you look at it. AI is here to stay. It's just part of what we do. And I think the regulators are going kind of in the right direction if they know how to manage this. The problem is it is totally going off the rails. And I think we're going to suffer some consequences long before it actually does take hold and do the right thing. So, I mean, overall, what do you think could be some benefits to people like us before we move on to the next story? What do you think can actually, how can we benefit from the use of AI in just talking about terms of fraud and getting better dollar per mile rates for loads? Do you think that can be accomplished? What do you think, Tom?
I don't think that AI is going. I mean, you can ask AI, say, "Hey Siri, is this broker fraudulent?" It's not going to know.
No,
Now,
no,
you could use algorithms and things of that nature, but the truth is, you've got to know the people you're dealing with. And
right,
just like the brokers won't deal with you until you've been in business for a certain amount of time,
right,
use the same thing. Don't jump
right,
on every load. You know, if you feel that you want to go with TQL, go with TQL.
right,
If you want to
right, right.
go with the JB Hunt load board, go with JB Hunt load board. You've
There
got
you
to
go.
vet the companies that you're working with, and know if nobody will factor them, that should be a hint for you.
Right, exactly, exactly. I got guests bouncing back and forth. I'm thinking they're having internet problems. We'll get to both those guests here in just a moment. I want to highlight one comment here. WCF Invader, welcome to the show today. Says, oh yeah, many times if I had to book a load and suspect I had an issue, I'll make sure it's with a broker. I have no issue paying detention. Good to know, my friend. You are so true on that fact. AI in detention, I've never been a fan of. I mean, AI is something that's new and we're all just now getting used to. So just like AI is trying to run my show right now, it can't make up its mind what window to show. Thank you, Frank. How about you, brother? I mean, how exposed do you think you are to AI, and how do you think it'll potentially benefit us?
I'll be honest with you, it's so far it's like in a beta type state. It's not real beneficial at the moment. I mean,
Right.
it may have some perks, but it's also got its downfalls. And I see it as right now a problem more than a help. So yeah, that's just the way I look at it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to bring one more.
What problems are you seeing with it specifically? What problem is AI causing you?
Well, it's not really causing me directly because my company uses outward facing cameras, so I don't have to worry about it. But those that like with Prime, and inward, it doesn't know what it's doing as far as what you're doing. You could be just reaching up just to change your temperature on your settings for a little bit colder or a little bit hotter, and it's going to think you're reaching over to grab your phone or something. Of course, yeah, there's people that are supposed to be viewing this stuff and seeing, oh, okay, he was doing this, but it's still the idea. It's like a beta type state, so it's not going to be perfect yet. It's not to the point where it's going to pick up on stuff like it's supposed to because they haven't got it perfected yet, and it's going to take some time.
Everything in beta usually does take time, and there's usually a huge casualty list until it's all figured out.
Truthfully, there's no such thing as AI.
Speaking of casualties, boom, Fate is in the house. He's about to wreck everyone's day. He's about to talk about AI and how it sucks, aren't you, Fate?
No, I was gonna say I kind of agree with what Midlife is saying, believe it or not. I believe in working with people. When you talk about detention with like AI brokerages, whether it's JB Hunt, Coyote, Uber, I have obviously as an owner operator, I've hauled for all three of those. Even back in the day when Convoy was around, I hauled some freight for Convoy. I never had a problem getting detention from the AI software. It was actually easier for me to get detention through those companies versus like some of the brokers that I dealt with. AI is definitely coming. And you have a choice to make. You either adapt and work with it or just kick rocks and get out. Like open your door and jump out. Like it's coming. And I'm tired of people. As a business, you need to adapt and change to your business. Part of your business is going to be working with AI.
Very true. Very true. I mean, AI is something that I've noticed is big, and it's increasing in size, and it's also increasing in its role in today's marketplace. I mean, no matter what way you slice it, you're going to be faced with it. You're going to be faced with the consequences of what happens with AI. One such individual, I think, is with us today, and I would like to introduce him and give him a moment to tell a story of exactly how that happened to him. And it all has to do with the story I aired last week with what you frowned on, Scott, and that was the part on Mother Truckers segment on JB Hunt. And I've since had contact with a fella named William. And he and I have gone rounds and basically had a discussion about what happened at JB Hunt a short time ago. Now, for just a few moments, I'm going to put everybody backstage, and hopefully, William, you can straighten out and come on and talk to me for a moment and tell everybody what happened to you with regards to, yeah, his AI is a little, his AI, yeah, his signal is a little squirrely. So I'm going to give him a moment to figure that out, and we will come back to him as soon as he does get that straightened out. In the meantime, let's talk about the story I'm interested in, and that is how the Matrix is now controlling things in trucking. We have to ask ourselves, how deep is AI in our daily lives? The trucking industry is experiencing a significant shift with the integration of advanced AI technologies in both automating processes, boosting productivity, um, carrying out some automated things with regards to truck maintenance. Even your fueling and routing is put into it. It's become more embedded in the logistics part, and it's prone to errors. It's prone to issues. And I think one such issue we're going to talk about here in just a moment. I'm waiting to see his internet straighten out because right now there's a big old circle on him. But just to preface his story, last week, Mother Trucker did a story on JB Hunt. And the issue with JB Hunt was that they were redirecting all of their qualification entries to an AI software. And we didn't know this at the time, but Mother Trucker put out a story about 90,000 possible owner operators and lease operators with JB Hunt being affected and suddenly being given notice you have to recertify. Now, I haven't heard a huge amount of people being negatively affected by it, other than this fellow. I'm trying to get his internet signal straightened out. But he is an unfortunate casualty of that. And I've since learned that. I've since recorded an interview with him. So if we don't have the opportunity to talk with him fully on today's show, I urge you, tune in to Trucking City at 2 o'clock this afternoon. I'm releasing a video that will go ahead and fully detail this man's story and tell you exactly what to look for when it comes to not just JB Hunt, but other mega carriers as well. I think more and more carriers are beginning to utilize AI and, quote, the Matrix as time goes on. So we are dealing with more and more of this heading our way. There's a dual-edged sword here. There's a good and a bad. So what I'd like to spend the rest of the show doing is basically talking about both sides of that, good and bad. So what are your guys' thoughts about that? Now, we're talking about 90,000 people with JB Hunt, and we're talking about, you know, most of them are experienced, some of them are inexperienced. So, you know, when it comes to AI, what are your thoughts? In fact, give me 1 second before you answer that question, because I just noticed he's ready to go. So I'm going to bring him on and let him tell you personally himself what happened. Good day to you, William. How are you today?
Hey, good. I got out of the truck
Yeah.
and standing outside here. Hopefully, you got a better signal.
Well, hopefully you're not sweating, but give everybody, for just the sake of argument, a brief rundown. Take 60 seconds, if you will. Give them a brief rundown about the process you went through. I've already disclosed this JB Hunt. I've already disclosed the basics. Tell them the process you went through and the disappointment you suffered trying to get on the load board with JB Hunt.
Okay, I was contacted by a lady. Can I say her name?
You're welcome to give anything as long as you can back it up.
Okay, a lady by the name of Sarah Mason. Sarah Mason contacted me early in February this year, and she said, "Hey, I seen you were looking on our load board for loads." And I said, "Yeah, I just seeing what's available." And she says, "I've got a power only group with a dedicated load board, and you can plan 2 or 3 loads ahead. It's a great deal," and really sold me on it. And so I was excited. Hey, I'm gonna hook up with JB Hunt. They're a big carrier, and I thought, all right, and make some money. And so a couple of weeks went by because I was trying to finish up with a few loads I had, and she said, "Contact me when you drop that last load, and we'll get you set up." She said, "In the meantime, increase your coverage on your insurance, and send us a COI with us as a certificate holder." So I did that, and a period of like 3 weeks went by. And in the meantime, I had talked to somebody else, and they said, "Yes, you're in the Chicago area, huh?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Stay in the Chicago area, and we'll get you a good load out of there, because that's where we've got some good loads." So I sat for 4.5 days waiting to get hooked up on the following Monday. And so I get an email that Monday saying that I'm not qualified to drive for them. So I'm like, so I called the guy who emailed me, and I said, "Well, how come?" And he says, "I can't tell you." He says, "But you're not qualified to drive for us." And I said, "Okay, fine, whatever." Well, I called my insurance company and I said, "Hey, I haven't driven one single mile using this insurance coverage. I would like to, make sure that I'm not going to be charging extra." And they said, "No, too bad. You've already changed your coverage." And so that cost me.
Somebody's got some feedback going on here. I've got everything set up right here, so don't know
Should I
who
keep
it
on?
is. No, yeah, I think we got the gist of your story, but bottom line is, I mean, I'm just trying to make sure that the feedback isn't killing me, because I just happened to notice it, and I can't see anything on my end that would cause it, but
Well, the bottom line is they cost me $4,000 between my insurance increase and sitting for 4.5 days. You can figure out how much you lose sitting for 4.5 days. It could be anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. So I figured it cost me $4,000. So anyway, emails, phone calls never get returned. They're just completely blowing me off like I don't even exist.
Yeah. Honestly, I really hate that you went through all that stuff, and I honestly feel, after having looked into it, the reason I'm doing the stories I did today are mainly because I think you, unfortunately, are a byproduct of this AI problem. Because number one, your experience overall in trucking is rather, your experience overall in trucking is rather young compared to those of the rest of the panel. Okay. The man to your immediate left has 23 years. Tom, I know you have a great deal of experience. Fate, you've had 20 plus years experience in trucking. So everybody on the panel has had a great deal of experience. And when it comes down to actually getting calls from load boards, I think most of us know better than to accept those calls. And exactly what you went through, I think, is probably a good testament why not to. Because you become an AI product, you become a byproduct of, now especially, a system not designed to work in your interest. So honestly, I hope somebody at JB Hunt wakes up and realizes, a mistake was made. I get they don't want to give up their proprietary software, but $4,000 is a lot of money. I'm sorry.
Now, just let me tell you how much I've been blown off, okay? I got on LinkedIn. I've had a LinkedIn page from my previous career of welding inspection, and I sent a board member and assistant CEO, some Shelly lady, a message.
Right.
She never answered that message, but I got a call the next day from some guy. He was a robot. All he could say is, "You're not qualified to drive. You're not qualified to drive. I can't answer any questions. You're not qualified to drive." Now, just yesterday, I sent a message on LinkedIn to the CEO of JB Hunt. We will see if he answers my message or calls me. We'll see if any of these board members or CEOs give a shit about anybody but themselves. I'll keep you posted on that. I really don't expect to hear back from anybody.
Cheap freight hauler. I like your comment, sir. JB Hunt is incompetent. They dropped me. Nobody will tell me why. 4 years of service with them, always on time, tracking, doing everything they wanted, just dropped me out of the blue. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, before we go down this crazy hole, we have to understand something. It's not JB Hunt dropping you. JB Hunt is using what is called Highway. It is a new program and a new company that is vetting carriers. The other issue is they can't just like if you were to, you can get information from your insurance company, correct? But let's say you want to hire somebody on and your insurance company won't, like, denies them to drive under your MC. Your insurance company cannot tell you why. It's law. Like, they're not allowed to share, like JB Hunt cannot share the information they received about you, which is ridiculous, to you.
Yep.
Highway
It's just like insurance company.
It's kind of similar to the whole HIPAA standards in the medical field. We're dealing with that very same issue here.
The carrier I'm leased onto, we have been denied by brokers that we have used for years because of certain reasons. Those all can be addressed. You have to go through Highway though to get them to address it, which my experience, they're not super helpful either.
How did you come to find that out?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Highway is owned by Truck Stop. Highway is owned by Truck Stop. They are part of Truck Stop.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but a guy created the program. That's what every broker is using right now. I can't say the name. Because they told.
Well, don't. Yeah. Okay. I'm curious because
you'll get an email.
You're one of the first truckers I've even heard talk about it. So I'm just it's very surprising. But
yeah, a big brokerage that I use all the time, I cannot haul for right now.
Okay, that's a shame too, and it's probably because of AI too.
Well, you know what it is? Well, yes, it's because of AI, but it's because of the fraud that's happened with carriers that have brokerages or carriers that have multiple MC numbers. This idea, look how rampant fraud is for the owner operators or the carriers, right? It's tenfold on the brokerage side. Like if you're losing money because of fraud as a company driver or owner operator, a brokerage is losing thousands more. They're just
exactly. Yeah. Tom, have you heard much about this before Scott mentioned it? I mean, are you very familiar with this Highway thing going that he is talking about? Have you dealt with it?
Yeah, every company, every industry, they come up with ways to vet so that they don't have to have as many employees on board.
Right.
And they'll use a computer and they'll use a program. It's not really AI. Everybody says AI. There's no such thing as artificial intelligence. It's actually machine learning and programming. And what it does is the programming says, hey, if he doesn't meet this parameter, and this is the backside of what you said about there should be something verifying the brokers. Well, there's also something got to be verifying the truck drivers, because somebody will call up and they'll pretend that they're an asset-based carrier. And they'll say, yeah, we want to haul your load. The truth is they're not an asset-based carrier. They're a broker, and they're going to double broker that load. And by the time it gets to, it's kind of like dope. By the time it gets to that street corner, it's been stepped on 5 times.
Yeah, exactly.
How much baby powder you want in your cocaine?
Right, exactly. Yeah, we seem to have lost Scott. The poet was asking what Highway is. Do you have an explanation for that, Tom? Are you familiar enough with it to know what it is, basically, other than just what Scott had said?
It's a company based out of Dallas, Texas. It's a company based out of Dallas, Texas. They do vetting. We're all familiar with the vetting that they use for drivers. When we get ready to get a job as a driver, they look at our DAC report, which is part of a company called Hire Right.
Right.
Okay, it's the same thing. This is just another way. It's a company that's called that Highway app is simply they're out of Dallas, Texas, and they verify brokers and they verify carriers. They're not really verifying drivers. They're verifying carriers and brokers. They don't mess with the drivers. But a lot of times the driver is the carrier. And what they're checking is they're saying, hey, is this carrier really own the assets they claim they own? Do they have the insurance that's required to pull the load? And
Right.
are they legit? What can get you flagged is things like maybe your address, your email address is a Gmail address.
Right.
That's going to flag because
Right.
reputable carriers aren't using Gmail addresses. Reputable
Most of them aren't.
carriers have, for example, midlife trucker at midlifetrucker.com. They don't,
Right.
they can afford to buy a domain, which is not expensive. But the
Right.
point is, when they see a
And the other
Gmail
thing
or
too
a
is the
Hotmail or an
frequency.
AOL,
And the other thing too, I think in that would be frequency of address because, you know, who don't move around frequently if they're trying to avoid prosecution.
exactly.
it's
Or if
probably
you're out of Chicagoland, I can tell you now,
Yeah.
if you're out of the Chicagoland area, you're going to get a
Mhm.
lot more scrutiny than anywhere else, other and New Jersey and California as well.
Yep.
Now, don't forget about
Uh,
RMIS.
what?
Don't forget about RMIS. You have to send your you have to make a certificate hold RMIS. You have to make them a certificate holder and send them a COI, and then to get hooked up with a broker, then you have to submit all of your information through Highway, who is owned by Truck Stop. So I've been through it quite a few times because I've only been driving 3 years, and I've had my own
Right.
authority almost a year now. So I've gone through that process. RMIS, you have to register with them. It's a registry monitoring insurance something. I forget what it stands for.
Right.
But not only do you have to register with RMIS, then you have to send all your stuff to Truck Stop, and then you have to fill out a carrier packet for whoever the broker is that you're going to carry for. So I mean, I use TQL, I use Robinson, and ATS so far, and so those are the 3 brokers that I use to get my back hauls, because I haul for another carrier out of Fargo. They give me like 1 load a week, and then I have to do my own back hauls, so they're not double brokering.
Okay.
So that's how all
All right.
that works with Truck Stop and all that.
Yeah,
So
because
anyway,
I was originally going to ask you and failed to, bad reporter that I am, on our video that will be released at 2:00. I did not ask you during that interview whether you actually received a carrier packet when you were talking to those people at JB Hunt, because I would assume if they were going to hire you on and we lose them, if he's flaky, his signals in and out. Hopefully he hears this. But if you're going to
yeah,
be
they had
on with somebody that you're going to obviously get what's called a carrier packet. I've heard others talk about it, and I
Yeah,
would
I've got
think
one.
Highway would be integrated into part of that. So, did you receive one of those from JB Hunt?
No, but all the other carriers, I have received them, and I filled them out and sent them back. But we hadn't gotten to that point. But their onboarding process is backwards. You'd think they would vet me first to check out and
Then-
see if I'm qualified, and then
Yeah.
have me increase my insurance and all that. But
Yeah.
they did it backwards. I incurred insurance increase, which made I was 2 weeks late on my truck payment because of that. You know, I was missed out on 4.5 days of driving plus $1,500 on my insurance.
You would
Really
think that
pissed
the
me off.
very best that can come out of this is that somebody at JB Hunt wakes up and realizes, hey, somebody's not doing their job. Because it sounds like, just like you say, they did everything backwards. And you, unfortunately, were the casualty of war because of that. So,
Yep, Sarah
really
Mason and Steven Jackson. Sarah Mason and Steve Jackson, they have both, every time I send them an email, I get a vacation response. In fact, I got a vacation response from Sarah Mason that was 2 months old. This was in May that I sent her the email, and it said I'll be out of the office till March 18th. And so I sent her an email from a different email address to say, that's a nice trick you got there, Sarah. You better update your vacation response.
Right. Yeah, you're a little late on that one.
I'm just really, I could just choke somebody. I'm so pissed about this because they're just completely ignoring me. Like I don't even exist. I don't even matter. They don't care that they screwed me. So I sent the message to the CEO, and we'll see if we hear back from him.
Well, I hope that somebody wakes up. I mean, because at the very least, it opens up their eyes to the fact that they need to tweak their system a little bit. It's obviously deficient. I mean, let's not talk about.
Here's a question, William.
And let's not talk about the obvious thing. But that's what needs to happen.
But here's a big question, William. Why do you even still want to work
Yeah.
with them? Well,
I
wouldn't
don't.
bother to contact the CEO. I wouldn't give a crap about that. One of the
I
reasons
want
they
my
told you
money.
you had to increase your insurance
They owe
is
me
because
money.
if you're
That's what
running
I
minimum, you're not going to get your money. You're not
probably
getting
not. But you know what? I'm going to keep
it.
trying till
They're not obligated to give you any. The problem is if you're running minimum insurance and you don't meet their insurance requirements, you're going to get an automatic no. And
Right.
that's
I
true
increased
because
it.
every state has different different minimum insurance requirements. And of course, there's
I
a
increased it.
nationwide minimum
I made
insurance.
them a cert
I
holder.
know
I
you
sent them a
increased
COI.
but you increased it. But then they decided that you disqualified for some other reason. The problem
Right,
is if
right.
you're running minimum insurance, you're going to be disqualified by some people. It's going to happen.
Probably.
So you've got to
But I
find
did
out
what they
what their
needed me to
minimums
do.
are. There should be a way to find out what each company's minimums are. You should be able to look and find out what that is and then know what their minimums are going in. Established relationships are the very important part. By the way, Schneider, so save yourself some heartbreak, Schneider also uses Highway. If you go on
I
Highway
met their
sites, you can
minimum.
scroll down to news releases and you can find a list of some of the companies that they're using. And that
I
can
met their
help
minimum.
you
I
to avoid them.
changed my coverage. So that isn't an issue. I met their minimums.
You
I
met their
increased my
minimum, but they
coverage.
said you don't for another reason. That didn't okay.
Yeah,
You met
yeah.
their minimum for insurance, but then they felt you didn't meet something else.
Right.
Again, I wouldn't want to work
So
with them. I would be
insurance
moving
isn't
on
the
and
issue.
working somewhere else.
I
We
am.
have-
I'm not gonna, and I don't want to work for them. And I haven't told them that. I just want my money. I want, because if they don't know what they're doing, their onboarding process is backwards. Why should I pay for that?
Right. Okay,
Why
guys,
should
we
I
have
be
a
stuck
caller on the
holding
line.
back?
Yeah, we have a caller on the line. So let's see what our friend from the north has to say. Welcome to the show, Poet. What be your opinion on this whole thing, my friend?
You know, I have to sit outside away from my computer so I can't see what's going on, but that's okay. This tobacco, I've been in the trucking industry since 1999. Now, all these things that Will just said, I've never even heard of.
Are you referring to the highway thing, or are you referring to the AI thing?
The highway, truck stop,
I have to wonder if that's just something that hasn't reached your system up there.
I have no idea. I haven't been in the state for
Well, stand by because it's probably coming to a system near you, my friend. Unfortunately, it's the way of the world.
I know. You have seen my post about AI and how to get rid of it on your phone and computer. Okay. You will see how I got rid of the bots that wanted to interact with me.
Yes.
You know, after 54 plus years in, not being able to get a job because I'm overly now, it makes me sad that our industry has gone far.
Yeah. I agree. And
I will let you go.
And I appreciate everything you have to offer to this show, my friend Poet. You keep it real. You keep calling in, and we will certainly look to have you on here, my friend. You be safe up there.
Hey guys,
Well,
how you
All
doing,
right.
boss man?
John, my friend, welcome to the show. I did begin to wonder if you were going to show up, but it looks like
I
you
could-
took some extra time to shave the hair off your face.
I took and my head.
Oh,
I
wow.
took a couple extra minutes because I'm trying to get some stuff done at home. But I just want to check in and say thank you everybody for watching. Make sure that you subscribe to Truckin City Media, Fate Trucking, Grumpy Trucker, and anybody else that's in here. All right, guys. Thank you. Always remember, truckers are people too.
You betcha. Glad you could make an appearance, John.
Tried to do my best. Sorry, not being here
Yeah.
the whole show.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine, man. You got things to do, and from what I hear, very busy. Busy
Where's
thing.
the crown? Where's the crown?
The crown.
Where's
You
the
gotta watch
crown?
my videos to see the crown.
Uh-huh. There you go. Good plug. Love it. There you go. All right. Do you want to add anything real quick, John, before you go on AI and trucking and what we've been talking about with William Booth here?
You said AI and trucking?
Yeah, AI and trucking, the highway, people getting booted out of JB Hunt. Sad situation, but
Well, that's a lot of different categories all in one. I would say, as for AI and trucking, I got to tell you this. I was in a Tesla that was actually a cab the other day, and I've never ridden in a Tesla. They have this cool
No?
technology where it actually shows you on a screen every car all the way around the car. Why can't semis have that? Okay, I'm not big on AI, but that would be handy to be able to see every vehicle within like a 10 feet or 20 feet radius of your vehicle, trailer and truck. If they can do it for cars, they
Right.
can do it for trucks. Wouldn't that be beneficial?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
And they got these overhead cameras that can actually see the entire car. I think it's freaking awesome. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Well,
like that
You-
kind of
you know,
they
technology.
kind of
Tesla
do,
does
but
make a
unfortunately,
semi.
we're not able to see it, John.
Tesla
on
does
these
make a
new
semi that
AI
has that.
I'm not trying to get into a conversation about Tesla versus regular semis. I'm just saying
No.
that particular technology could be used everywhere. And I know Tesla will let other people use their technology. So hint to all the large companies listening out there.
Oh yeah.
Everything else, guys, I really got to go. Y'all, I really appreciate you. Also, and for the JB Hunt thing, I will say one other thing. I think the whole thing is an unfortunate circumstance where a policy came down, and now all these people are going to be pushed out. And the gentleman, I forget his name now, William.
William.
I think he had to come in at the worst possible time that all that
Yeah.
happened, and he just kind of got
That's not
hit
the
with a wave that he didn't expect to get hit with. I feel bad for him. My heart goes to that guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, hopefully a resolution
doesn't-
comes out of it. And what's even better is I hope that at least my providing airtime at least facilitates that in some way. If it
Yeah.
don't, that's fine too. At least everybody else will be more aware of it and will be smarter for it. So that's
100%.
the very least what I hope.
I'm not sure why I don't recognize Midlife Trucker. I'm a little confused by this image, so I gotta go because my brain is hurting right now. So I will talk to y'all later. Everybody stay safe out there. Keep the rubber side down, shiny side up, all right?
God bless
Take
you, John.
care.
Thanks
Hope
for
to see
joining
you
me.
soon, John.
All right.
You know,
All right,
you
well, I'm
guys
gonna
keep
go around-
talking about JB Hunt not taking me as a driver or kicking drivers out. I don't care about that. That's not the issue. The issue is
Yeah.
their onboarding process is backwards, and it cost me a few $1,000s or more. Who's
Okay,
going to
yeah.
pay me back?
Well,
No one's
unfortunately,
going to pay you back.
Unfortunately, like Tom said, the reality is you probably will receive goose egg. But the simple fact that you're up here stating your case, I believe, one is brave, two is calculated on the part of you making JB Hunt account for the deficiencies.
Yeah.
You're probably
They have
not
to
the
be
only
held
one.
accountable for
Whether
their
it
shit.
actually does anything, you won't know unless you actually get on a show like mine and say something. So kudos to you for that.
They have to be held accountable for what they did to me. Period.
Think
Well,
that-
Bill,
same-
I'd like
same
to
should
add
be-
to that, boss man, real quick.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sure, go ahead.
the factor of it is just like boss man brought up. You're brave enough to come out and talk about what they've done to you. Therefore, they're going to get in turn other people watching our show, and which would be passed on, and they're going to wind up losing people because they messed you around. So this is how basically we're trying to help you out. No, you probably won't ever get reimbursed from that company. That's not the
Yeah,
ideal. The
probably not.
ideal of what we're trying to do is take care of other fellow drivers so that they don't get stuck in the same predicament as yourself.
Yeah.
Right. If I can help somebody from getting burned, that's great.
What you got to add to that?
Okay, first of all, I'm sorry what happened to you. Second of all, it's not JB Hunt. Stop saying JB Hunt. It's not them. It is the software that I'm not defending brokerages or carriers here because that's not my position. But they're trying to change fraud in this industry. I'm not saying it's the right way, but it's not
Right.
JB Hunt. I think too many of us focus in. Your experience was with JB Hunt. I was sharing right before I got a phone call. I've experienced the exact same thing through a different company that's not JB Hunt. For other reasons, I can share it because it's not a secret. The carrier I'm leased onto has a brokerage because of one of the customers we have. Because of the fraud that has happened, the company that I wanted to haul for, because there's a brokerage with the same address as the MC number, we can't haul for them. Thirdly, part of business is taking risks. You took a risk. It didn't work out. That sucks. I feel bad for you. Yeah, you didn't have to do what they asked you to do. You didn't have. That's all your free will. You did not have to do one thing that they asked you to do.
Everyone involved has a responsibility.
My phone calls or my emails.
I feel bad for them.
Everyone
they
involved
call me
has a responsibility to decide, and that's I think what Fate's point is. Everyone involved has a right to decide what's best for them, what's best for the situation they're in. And
I'm not saying you're not in a bad.
right.
Because they can't.
Why won't they call me and explain it then? But they ignore me completely. If there's a reason for it, tell me.
They explained it to you. They did.
No, they didn't.
You don't like you. Yes, you cannot haul freight for us. They explained it to you. You don't like their answer. They can't tell you what highway gave them. Under law, they cannot tell you.
Probably because
I've
they don't know.
used highway many times and I've never been turned down by anybody.
Well, and no, you probably never will. But the idea
Probably never will.
Highway, nobody's turned me down.
And a CEO is not obligated to answer you. Now, however, they are obligated to answer the stockholders and the board, but they're not obligated to answer you, and they're very busy. CEOs, a lot of people think a CEO just sits in their office. That's not the case. It's busy. All your executives are busy from morning to night. Take the job home with them. They're not just sitting around twiddling their thumbs.
Here's a perfect.
They're doing it.
Hey, William, can you hear me?
I just muted his mic until he gets in the truck because it's obvious.
Okay. Let me say one thing to him because I don't want him to think I'm attacking him because I'm so not attacking him. I feel terrible for what he's going through. But let me tell you this, William. I wanted to bring a company driver on to my business, right? The insurance company denied him. I don't know why they denied him. Everything he told me or wrote down on paper works. I ran his driving record. It works. For some reason, the insurance company denied him. The insurance company is under no obligation to tell me why, other than we cannot insure him. Bottom line. That's what your experience is. I know it's not what you want to hear, but it's that's what you're experiencing.
Situation.
And that
I have insurance. I've never been turned down by insurance.
you're missing the point. You're missing the point. And that's what's wrong in trucking right now. You're missing the point. And I'm not trying to be an asshole to you, man. Absolutely not. I support you.
Part of the reason,
But
you're
missing the point.
Part of the reason
getting
why, part of the reason why I hosted the show in the manner that I did was for the exact disagreement that's going on right now. Everything that JB Hunt did to you, William, is a byproduct of an AI system that's new to everybody. It's something we all have to get used to. AI is here. It's here to stay. It's going to affect everybody in the industry in one way,
Why
shape, or
don't
form.
they give me an explanation then? They
Well, I
ignore
agree
me
with you.
completely.
I agree
I
with
want
you.
They're
an
not required to
explanation.
give you one.
All they got to do is tell me that, and I'll be happy.
If there is a way in which that company can find that explanation and provide one to you, I urge them to reach out, and I urge them to do just that. In the meantime,
You still
there
owe me
are
money.
times and there are ways in which that can be done. This, unfortunately, if it's what I think Scott is trying to explain, may not be able to happen because they might not have access to the information necessary to satisfy you and actually win the argument. So
They don't.
that is where the comment from Cheap Trade Hauler comes into play. I think you won't hear back from them, mainly because it's just not your time. It's not their time. It's the market ain't right, and they don't care about you. And it's unfortunate they don't.
It's
But he's right.
unfortunate. Don't. But he's
Yeah.
right.
You know, it's an unfortunate and sad truth.
You know, it's
but
an unfortunate and sad truth. But
I think we have a echo in here, and I think I know the guilty plea. Gilligan, you're gonna have to fix your audio, my friend, because you're causing the echo. There's a couple of brokers I've hauled for in the past. I can't haul for them now. They've changed their requirements. They needed 3 to 5 trucks for different reasons, and probably the same problem. So yeah, just catching up on a couple of things. Fate, this is different than insurance. RMIS and my carrier packets will tell us part of the brokerage requirements we don't need or we don't meet. And JB Hunt has left everything a mystery. And
Once
that
again,
is unfortunate.
You can contact Highway.
Yeah.
You can contact the company that they are using to vet you. That
Right.
is your way to find out what's going on. Now, I will say from experience, Highway isn't super helpful either right now.
Imagine.
In fact, I'm looking for that link. I'm going to put that link up. Midlife put it up a while ago. Here it is. There's the link to get a hold of Highway.
I
There's
want somebody
all the
to tell me that. Then. They
Right, but
haven't
they-
told me
but-
anything
but-
like that. Why don't they tell me? Get hold of
I
Highway
think
then.
the
That's
point-
where it's at. But no,
well, and
they
I agree with you,
tell me.
but I think the point that Scott's trying to make is because of this link down here, they may not be able to. They may be completely out of their hands. That's the problem. And I agree with you, William.
Why
I
don't
think they owe you.
all
They
they gotta
owe
do-
you an explanation.
Yeah.
But obviously, it may not be something they can do with any ease. They may just send you a bunch of BS that you're not willing to hear, and problems no different when they call you than after they call you. So it's one of those things. But you know, we've got the full
Yeah.
video coming up at 2:00. I urge everybody to go watch it. I urge everybody to pay attention because you know what? Some good may come of it. Some good may not. It just really depends. Everybody's opinion is different. That's why I like running this show. We have a multitude of opinions on this panel. Not everyone is going to be the same as the next, but the idea is we get to learn. Scott, any last words?
Yeah, one more thing, and I'm sorry, because I don't view it as an opinion. It's the
No.
reality. It's what we face. It's not an opinion. You're going to get denied by some brokers. That's not an
Yep.
opinion. That is a fact.
I
They don't
care
have to
about
tell you.
denied.
They don't have to tell
That's
you
not what I
why.
care about.
No, but what I'm saying is they don't have to tell you why they're denying you. Did you go out and spend money that you worked hard for? You did. And that sucks. That sucks. But that's business. I am getting it. That's business. That's business. You did something.
Process is backward.
And you have a leg to stand on. You're not hearing me. You have a leg to stand on. Get a hold of highway. You have options. You're choosing not to hear me right now. You're choosing to blame somebody that is not in control of it. It's
I've
highway.
used highway, and I've never been denied before.
Right, so you did this time. Get a hold of highway and find out why.
Yeah.
Sure,
Anybody that has,
why is JP ignoring me? They can't. They won't give me an explanation, and they owe me money.
Happy?
Because they're on
Are you go
backwards?
Yeah.
God.
You know, are you gonna be happy if they tell you anything anyways? Yeah. That's gonna be my question.
Well, yeah.
So if they tell you that they don't know anything, are you gonna be happy with that?
It's a great question.
Yeah. I mean, all right. Let's leave on that question, William. If JP Hunt reached out tomorrow and asked and simply answered that question, would that make you happy? What's the chances?
If they haven't by now, do you think they will? No. I've given them many, many, many chances over the last 3 or 4 months.
Well, and I think the best we can hope for.
They don't give me like that. All they got to do,
guys, hang on,
is tell me contact highway. Would have.
Yeah.
But they completely ignore me.
Yeah.
Well, I know highway doesn't ignore you because I deal with them.
There you go.
I've
guys,
I've never been turned down.
Yeah. Guys, hang tight. We're gonna wrap this up and bring it back after everybody's wrapped up here. Guys, when it comes down to it, it's a rough world we live in, and you know what? I don't care. At the end of the day, truckers deserve respect. I feel bad for William's circumstance, but again, AI has played a huge role and will continue to play a huge role and will plague us until, you know what? It's too late. We're out of trucking. Till then, we got to drive the trucks. And you know what? We're going to do the best job we can doing it. We do drive the trucks make the deliveries, and you and me will live to see another day. Until next time, my friends, keep the faith, keep it royal, and keep it rolling.